My name is Omae Joseph from Kenya, and today I've graduated with a master's in investment analysis. My studies here were funded by the Commonwealth Shared Scholarship. I was awarded the Walter Scott Global Asset Management Prize. It usually goes to the top student. I usually say the easiest way to get me to do something, tell me I can't do it. I got an offer in Japan for economics. I got an offer in Kenya for a master's in mathematics. I got an offer in Stalin, investment analysis. I know people work harder than me, but I don't believe as much in luck either. So that's why I usually say, never forget where you come from. I got a rejection. So these guys wrote back to me and told me, we don't think you have a strong background in mathematics. I was almost like, I wish you guys knew.
Some journeys begin long before the first step is taken. Now for Omae Joseph, the path to academic excellence was clear even as a child growing up in Kenya.
I usually say I made 43 scholarship applications, but most people usually don't know why that number is big.
From an early age, Omar knew he wanted to pursue a world-class education. The results of his persistence were remarkable. From finishing with a first-class degree for his bachelor's in Kenya, to bagging fully funded scholarships from institutions in Japan, Kenya, and the United Kingdom, opened doors to opportunities he once only dreamed of. He is currently on another fully funded scholarship for his PhD program in Scotland.
5 minutes after the interview, they told me yeah, that interview went well. We are going to put your name forward for funding.
This is the story of Omae Joseph on how I got here.
I did a bachelor's in actuarial science. There's a company I wanted to go work with. So it's an investment company in Nairobi. So I actually started making application to this company way before I graduated. I got a first interview, but I failed because I was not a graduate by that time. After finishing my exams, but before graduation, I was called for another interview. So I went there, did my interview, and passed. So I was admitted to join the internship program. They call it the Young Leaders Program. It is for 3 months. So I worked there for 3 months, then I was given a full-time offer. But I wanted to do a master's program. I remember I applied for the master at a university in London called the London Bank, the LSBU, London South Bank University. So that was when I was in second year. Then when I was making that application, then I realized they do offer funding opportunities. So that's how the first time I ever learned about scholarships. So when I applied, they told me you are way too far from graduation and you can't be admitted to a master's degree. Then I waited until I got to third year. So by the time I got to third year, now I was now I need to start knowing where I will go for my master's. So that's why I usually say I made 43 scholarship applications, but most people usually don't know why that number is big. It's because I started making applications during my third year and during my fourth year. So for me, that was the learning process. Now, when I got my job offer in Nairobi, now I was in an intellectually stimulating environment. Now, from that point now, I started getting ideas about how to write, what things need to be pointed out as issues. Then I went ahead now to write the 7-8 applications, of which I got 5. I got an offer in Japan for economics. I got an offer in Kenya for a master's in mathematics. I got an offer here in Stalin, investment analysis. Now, when I got to my master's in Stalin, I was an investment analyst in Nairobi. So it means, and I was doing a master's in investment analysis, I knew what I was doing. And during this period, started preparing for my application for a PhD because I knew I want to go directly to a PhD, but I know a PhD is a very long time and I don't want to invest in something I don't enjoy. So I was more focused in something quantitative. I was looking for programs in quantitative finance, mathematics, data science, AI and such things, operations research. So I started making my applications. The first university I ever applied to was Bath, southern of England. And I got a rejection because I made my first application barely 1 month into my master's. I was in a master's in mathematics data science, but I could not demonstrate that because I did not have transcripts from the other side. And in Bath, I was applying for a master's in in a PhD in mathematical computing. So these guys wrote back to me and they told me, we don't think you have a strong background in mathematics. I was almost like, I wish you guys knew, but I can't show that because I don't have the papers and the evidence. So I was like, these guys probably don't know what actuarial science is, because there's no way you can do actuarial science without mathematics. There was another more or less similar PhD opportunity that came with a master that was advertised in Exeter, that is in England. So I went ahead and applied. And I applied because it was close to the deadline, so I wasn't going to wait for so long. They wrote back. They were like, we can have an interview. When I was going for an interview, I went to a very quiet room in campus. I didn't know that room, that's where the air conditioning engines are situated. So, this heating and blah, blah, blah. So I'm seated here, 5 minutes to the interview, the engines go off. I was like, oh no. So I had to start moving around the corridors, looking for a place to do my interview, because these engines were making a lot of noise. I was late for that interview by 5 minutes. And the interview was just 20 minutes. So I got into the interview all confused. It did not go so well, so I never passed beyond that point. I saw another PhD that was advertised. So I was like, yeah, this one you come with your own idea. They have the funds, so it's up to you now to compete. I went, sat down, and started writing what I was doing for my master's dissertation. So I started writing that into a proposal. Then I sent it. So when I sent it, it took like 2 hours. The professor wrote back. And he was like, I have seen what you sent me and I like it. Can we have a meeting tomorrow? I was like, tomorrow? That's too soon, but yeah. And I kinda had done some background check about this guy and what he does, and I felt like he does something I want. So they called me to an interview, then we start discussing, we talk. And the interview went well. 5 minutes after the interview, they told me like, yeah, that interview went well. We are going to put your name forward for funding. Let me tell you a secret. And maybe somebody who is interested in research will try this out. The best way you want to get this interview going, especially when you're doing a one-on-one interview, be the person who allows the other person to talk more. Because, okay, but you should know how to trigger them to talk. By the other person, I mean your professor. You only need to find a way to trigger this person to start talking about the area of interest. They will never stop talking.
Exactly.
And the moment they realize like you are listening more, that's what they prefer over a person who is. Because I can tell you for sure, if you're writing to a professor about a certain area, this guy knows so much about that area that you can't try to impress him about it. So impress him with things like personality. But this only works when you are doing a one-on-one interview. Then from that point, it's all about how likable are you more and less of how skilled are you. Because everybody out there has an excellent bachelor's, an excellent master's. I came to this place. Everybody has a first class. So you are like, I can't mention that anymore. You finish your master's, everybody has a distinction. So you can't mention that anymore. So you need something else.
Omae's story is a testament to the boundless possibilities that come with determination and the courage to dream. From Kenya to United Kingdom, his journey inspires us to see rejection not as an end, but as a stepping stone towards greatness.
I usually say the easiest way to get me to do something, tell me I can't do it. Because now that's where now I'm like, yeah, I will put that to my to-do list. If I got accepted for this program, like from the word go, sometimes I would be like, or did I go for a less competitive one? I should have gone for something higher and more difficult. So the more you get rejected, the more value it came. So I get rejected the first time. Once I see that rejection, the next question I ask is, will there be a next time or this is the last time? If there is a next time, I start preparing for that next time now. In as much as I'm saying, sometimes I apply for these things. I don't want to call it for fun, but that is the word. I told you, like, if you tell me this thing is difficult, that's what I'm doing. So I be like, people are like, yeah, there's this company that has like a very crazy aptitude test. I tried and it's... So the next moment, when I see them advertising something, I'll apply, do the aptitude test, maybe even do the interview and then be like, no, I can't take the offer. I mean, like, just for that, you know, it stimulates you mentally.
Yeah, it does.
And now next time when you need to go into that institution, you already know the whole thing. Right now, I'm set to start another role in machine learning here in the UK. Some company, some investment company, or some finance institution. And was I through an interview? No. Did I send a CV? No. So it comes down now to that question you were saying about you need to meet some people through other avenues. So you go to this institution. Your professor introduces you to this. See this guy? Yeah, he's an analyst in company XYZ. He was my student in 2020. You're like, oh, okay, yeah, I'll check him later. Then you start talking to these people, and then when the right time comes, when the right opportunity comes,
they reach out to you.
Yeah, they will be like, if there's a role that suits you, we are student. Okay, I'm a student, so I don't get to work full time. So if there's a role that a student can take for 20 hours, 15 hours, go practice specific area you're doing, and yeah, so talk to people and people will. But now don't go asking people for favors the very first time you meet them. Like, I just met you yesterday and today you are asking me for a favor. We have not even...
Wrong.
Yeah, that is going to be a wrong way to approach this whole thing.
Yeah, you've bagged not one scholarship, you're currently a second scholarship. Bagging one scholarship, I heard it's like 1 out of 1,000. Chevening, for instance, like one of the most competitive in Africa. Commonwealth too, highly competitive. How were you able to navigate having not one but 2 scholarships?
It will be wrong if I say from the beginning to the end I was alone, right? You see, you need to be in touch with people from where you're coming from, where you are, and probably where you're going to. So when I was making my applications, most of them, I was also talking to my professors. You talk to people who are on the program, like who have been to the institution. They advise you, this is what Sterling looks like. If you want to apply to Sterling, this is probably what you are going to mention. So I wrote my research proposal. I sent it to another lecturer who we were closer and more friendlier, because, and then he sends me over 50 comments for a 3-page document. The first thing I looked at it and I was like, how are we not friends with this guy? I actually went to him directly and asked him, really, did you have to do that? And he was like, I am just being nice here. The other guy, instead of doing that, they will bin your thing. Because the other professor will not be going there to give you feedback. They will bin. Because they will be like, no, this is just, put it aside. So I went back and started changing that whole thing.
Now, Omae's story is also one of connection. He emphasized the power of networking, building relationships with mentors and peers who shared his passions and encouraged his growth. His relentless drive and strategic approach earned him more than just degrees. Omae became a recipient of the prestigious Walter Scott Award and was recognized for academic excellence by the Black Scottish Awards.
Let's just be honest. These things, you don't... I like a good number, like the first one, the second, even the ones I've gotten before that. You don't be like, I'm aiming to get this award. I just woke up one morning and I'm like, we have seen what you're doing for international students and we have nominated you for this kind of an award. Please show up to our
event.
Yeah, to our event. We would like to recognize your work. And you're like, okay, so guys are seeing these things out there. Maybe it's you and I. 40 years from now, we will be some.
Yes.
So we won't be looking for scholarships. We'll be looking for other things.
Other things too.
So those other things can be like to help people who are doing it, to motivate them to keep doing it. So for me, I usually don't know how serious these things until I know they're serious. I mean, like, I don't know if it's a personality thing. It's so hard to surprise me or impress me. So you get it. So, like, there are people out there who are doing very serious things, and part of those serious things they're doing is to help people who are trying to put a voice out there, like to inspire them to keep doing it more.
Well done with that. And on a final note, looking at your journey so far, that young boy from Kenya, 200 level, hoping to have a PhD, to 7 years after, you're literally on that path to doing that. But your journey so far, your achievements so far, what you attribute it to? Will you say luck? Will you say success? Will you say hard work? Will you say you have been lucky enough to be good in maths?
Not. I dismiss that part of hard work.
Okay.
I know people work harder than me. Luck, probably. But I don't believe as much in luck either. But I know there's some aspect of luck. It comes to one thing. There are people who are there during that time. So if you ever ask me, these people are not here in my PhD. They were not there in my master's. They were not there in my bachelor's, actually. But almost everything goes back to those people. So that's why I usually say, never forget where you come from. There's somewhere I have it written, this place, never forget where you come from. So that's where I come from. And it calls for a lot of respect. I know one of them will be watching this, probably. Nowadays, they are very good supporters of mine.
And that's it, guys, on how I got here, where we continue to share stories that inform, inspire, and educate. And thank you for sticking to the very end. Do not forget to smash the subscribe button, like, share, and drop your thoughts in the comment section. Until the next video, have a good one, guys. Cheers.